Guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. Hi, my name is Rosie, and thank you so much for taking a moment out of your busy day to spend a few moments with me. So in today's video, we are going to be continuing on with our 8x8 Christmas mini album. And in this video, we're going to be completing our mini album, including all of the decorating. So if you're ready, let's get started. Alright guys, so it's actually the next day. I ended up going to visit my grandson, like I mentioned, brought him his little goodies, and then I came back to work on the rest of the album. So this is actually the next day. Okay, so I've already placed down my magnets, and we're going to go ahead and just line the inside. So what you're going to need is cardstock, which you're going to see it all throughout this mini album. I'm always going to place red cardstock as my mat, and then I'll layer it with my decorative scrapbook paper. So just remember that as we're going through kind of the measurements. So what you're going to need is, for the mat, it's 7 3/8 by 7 3/8. And then the scrapbook paper is 7 1/4 by 7 1/4. I'm just going to double check again my opening, and let's go ahead and just place this down. Okay, and since my pattern, excuse me, since my pattern is directional, I will be super careful as to how I'm placing it down. But you know what? We all make mistakes, right guys? Okay. So diagonal, and then across and across. Okay, so there's that. Then we have our side flips, right? So what you're gonna need, my magnets are pretty strong here. Okay, so what you're gonna need are 4 pieces of the following. For the mats, they're 3 7/8 by 7 3/8, and for the scrapbook paper, they're for the scrapbook paper, it's 3 3/4 by 7 1/4. So let's go ahead and just put those down. Direction is good. All right, fabulous. So we've got page 1 done with our magnets. So we've got that done now. So now we're going to work on page 2. Page 2, we have a top loading flip, right? So let's work on putting down paper on our flip. I'm just going to do it upside down so that it's in frame and it's viewable. So what you're going to need are 2 pieces for the mat. That is 4 7/8 by 7 3/8, and then you're going to need 2 pieces of decorative scrapbook paper. That's 4 3/4 by 7 1/4. And I am going to release. I already placed down my magnet on the inside of our flap. And now this is directional, and I have it upside down, so it needs to go like this. So I am going to release a little bit of the paper. Okay, corner to corner, up to the side. Okay, great. Okay, so now our flap is done on the inside. Let me go ahead, before I do the top, let me do the full page here. So I have another magnet placed down. And for that, what you're going to need is, the mat is 7 3/8 by 7 3/8, and the scrapbook paper is 7 1/4 by 7 1/4. So just double checking my orientation. It's amazing how much double-sided tape it takes to do one of these mini albums, but honestly, there is nothing more rewarding than to start with a piece of paper and have it end with a beautiful creation. All right, let's go ahead and just close this and let's do the matting for this one. So again, this is one of the first ones that we did. So the mat is 4 7/8 by 7 3/8, and the scrapbook paper is 4 3/4 by 7 1/4. Okay, and let's do the last one. Alrighty, corner to corner, up and back. Okay, let's get rid of our garbage. And there we have page 2. So we have a nice top loading flip with our magnets. All right, so that's page 2. Okay, so for page 3, we have our pocket. So let's go ahead and line the top portion up here. So what you're going to need is a piece of cardstock that is 7 3/8 by 4 3/8, and then your scrapbook paper is 7 1/4 by 4 1/4. And let me do this upside down so I can see it better. Okay, corner to corner and up and back. Let's go ahead now and line the actual pocket itself. So for that, what we're going to need is cardstock that is 7 3/8 by 2 7/8. And then the scrapbook paper is going to be 7 1/4 by 2 3/4. So let's go ahead and just put that down. Put that down, and then work on the last 2 pieces of tape. Now certainly you can use glue, you can use any adhesive that you want. You just want to make sure, especially on a larger album like this, you want to make sure that it's strong adhesive, because the last thing you want is for something to come up and break on you, right? Okay, so corner to corner, up and then back. All right. So there is page 3. Now let's work on page 4. Okay, so for page 4, we have a belly band going sideways. So let's work on the inside first. And I'm just going to slide this hopefully right on in. We'll see how I do. It may have been better to use glue, so I have a little bit of wiggle room, but let's see how I do. So what you're going to need is a piece of cardstock that is 7 3/8 by 7 3/8, and then decorative scrapbook paper that is 7 1/4 by 7 1/4. Double checking my orientation, and I'm just gonna slide it right on in. So let's see. There we go. I'm gonna try and I'm holding it on the top before, so I was trying not to touch the sides. Oh, good fit. Okay, so there we go, and the orientation is going the right way. Then we want to decorate the actual belly band. So for that, what you need is the cardstock. The mat is 7 3/8 by 4 7/8, and then for the scrapbook paper, it's 7 1/4 by 4 3/4. And let's go ahead and just bring that down. Okay, so there we have page 4. So let's go ahead and put that back. Now let's work on page 5. Okay, so to cover our flips, what you're going to need are 4 pieces for the mat. That's 7 3/8 by 4 7/8. And then you're going to need 4 pieces of decorative scrapbook paper that are 7 1/4 by 4 3/4. So let's just start to add these down. Let me move this up a little bit so I get it in frame. Let me see, I'm just going to double check my orientation again. All right, and let's go ahead and place it down. I'm going to start with the bottom one. Okay, so I have placed my magnet on the top flip inside of the cover. So let's go ahead and get this one put down. So now I'm just going to start working on the top one. All right, good. And then let's go ahead and do the last 3 sides. Just double checking orientation. All right, so now I'm going to do the top. Orientation looks good. Okay, so now we have our page 5 flips. They're all covered. Now let's work on the inside. Again, I've placed down my magnet. All right, and let me tell you what we're going to need. So you're going to need a piece of cardstock as your mat. That's 7 3/8 by 7 3/8, and then your scrapbook paper is 7 1/4 by 7 1/4. Double checking my orientation. Okay, and last 2. All right. Okay, and then just corner to corner, up and to the side. Okay, so there is our page 5. Let's go ahead and flip it over, and for page 6, we're just going to leave this blank. We didn't want an element on here. Certainly you could place one on. So what you need is a piece for the mat, the cardstock, that's 7 3/8 by 7 3/8. And then the scrapbook paper is 7 1/4 by 7 1/4. Okay, so there is our page 6. Okay, so let's work on our page 7. So for page 7, we have 4 flips, 1 on each side of the page. So let's start by working on the left and right hand side first, and you'll understand why. Just be mindful of the pattern, because the top and the bottom flips are going to be oriented differently than your left and right hand side, if that makes sense. So that's why I'm kind of taking my time and kind of showing you. So if you have a pattern, just be mindful of which way the pattern goes, because the sides and the top and bottom are going to be different orientation. So you're going to need, for the sides, you're going to need 4 pieces that are 4 1/8 by 4 7/8. And for the scrapbook paper, you need them 4 3/4 by 4. Okay, so I've already placed down this one. I'm going to open it up, and we have a magnet. So let's go ahead. I'm going to take off the paper backing off of my magnet. And let's see which way my orientation goes, and then I'll go ahead and just place down my piece. Okay. Okay, so we've done the left-hand side. So we've got the front and the back of the left-hand side. Now let's work on the right-hand side. So again, it's the same procedure, same dimensions. On the outside of the right-hand side, nothing's done, place it right down. On the inside, we have placed a magnet. Okay, and it looks like I didn't put tape on this one, so let's go ahead and I'm going to bring in my glue. And the glue that I'm working with, is reptile glue. So let me make sure my orientation is correct. I'm going to move over the center one here. And let's go ahead and just place this down. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and work on the top and bottom. So let me work on this. Let me tell you what you're going to need. So you're going to need 4 pieces for the mat that are 4 1/8 by 4 7/8. And for the scrapbook paper, we're going to need 4 that are 4 by 4 3/4. So I'm going to start with the bottom. I've already placed this one down. We need to place a magnet down on the inside bottom cover. And I'm just going to take the paper backing off. And then let's go ahead and place it all down. Again, I probably sound like a broken record, but just be mindful of the orientation. Okay. Okay. And let's remove the paper backing on the last 2 sides. Okay, so now we have our bottom flap covered. Now let's work on the top portion. Get this paper clip off. So I've already placed it here because there's no magnet. On the inside there is a magnet. So let's see, it's facing up. Okay. Okay, now let's work on the inside of our page, and for that we're going to need, let's see, we're going to need for the mat, it's 7 3/8 by 7 3/8, and for the scrapbook paper, it's 7 1/4 by 7 1/4. Get my magnet, so I have one right in the middle. My orientation looks good. Okay, and then corner to corner, up and to the side. Okay, so now we have our page 7 all lined. I'm just going to get rid of my garbage. There's an awful lot of paper backing here, guys. Ooh, you should see my garbage. Okay, let's just go ahead and put away all these paper clips while we're at it. A nice clean space. Okay, so now we have it all done. So let me go ahead. So there is our page 7. Put my thing back on. Now for page 8, we left it blank. We don't have a element on this because I wanted some pages to be blank so that we have more space to do other things if we want. We can do tuck spots and all kinds of different things. Oh, I don't think I told you what the size was, did I? It's the same as the other full pages, which is, for the mat, it's 7 3/8 by 7 3/8, and for the scrapbook paper, it's 7 1/4 by 7 1/4. So now we're all done with pages 7 and 8. Okay, let's go ahead and work on page 9. So for page 9, we have a pocket. So let's work on the upper portion right here. So for what you're going to need is a piece for the mat that is 7 3/8 by 4 3/8. And then the scrapbook paper is 7 1/4 by 4 1/4. Okay, now let's work on the bottom part, the actual pocket. So for that, what you need is a piece for the mat that's 7 3/8 by 2 7/8. And then for the scrapbook paper, it's 7 1/4 by 2 3/4. So let's go ahead and put that down. Alrighty, corner to corner and back up. Okay, so now let's work on the flip side. So that would be page 10. And that's a full page. So what we need is a piece that is 7 3/8 by 7 3/8 and a piece of scrapbook paper that is 7 1/4 by 7 1/4. Okay. All right, and there's our page 10, 9 and 10. All right, last page. All right, let's work on page 11. So we're going to work on the 2 side flips. So we're going to need 4 pieces of cardstock for the mat that are 6 3/8 by 7 3/8 and 4 pieces of decorative scrapbook paper that is 6 1/4 by 7 1/4. So I already placed the front one down on the left-hand side, no magnets needed. We'll open it up, and on the inside, left-hand side, we need to place a magnet, and then we can go ahead and place our entire piece down. Okay, so there's our left-hand side. So we've got front and inside cover. Now let's work on the right-hand flip. So on the outside here, on the outside right-hand side, we're going to place a magnet. And then we can place everything down. All right, so there is the outside right-hand side. Now let's open it. And I've already placed my scrapbook paper down. There's no magnet on this page. So now what we're left with is the inside of the page. And I've placed down my magnet. So let me get the paper backing off. And then let's go ahead and place our big piece in. So again, just like the other ones, you need a piece of cardstock that is 7 3/8 by 7 3/8, and then a piece of decorative scrapbook paper that is 7 1/4 by 7 1/4. So all the full pages are all the same. All right, and let's do this one. And okay, so now we have this entire page done. Let's flip it over, and now we just need to put down another full page because it's not going to have an element. That's our last page, our page 12. And just like the rest of our full pages, it is 7 3/8 by 7 3/8 for the mat, and the decorative scrapbook paper is 7 1/4 by 7 1/4. All right, so now let's get rid of all of our garbage. Nice, clean workspace is our friend, right, guys? I can't work in a mess. I just can't. I get too discombobulated. Okay, so let's put away all of our paper clips. Let's bring back in the rest of ours. So now we have all 6 of our signatures completed. And some of my magnets are sticking to other magnets. That's how strong they are. Okay, so now we have it all completed. Let's bring back in our base. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and place our pages in. And then after that, it's really just a matter of decorating. Okay, so you can see that I've already placed my double-sided tape on both sides, as well I have angled each of the hinges so it's angle cut. It just makes it that much easier to place our pages in. So I'm just going to turn it towards me because I find that more helpful. I'm going to try and get the rest of the hinges kind of out of my way. And then I'm just going to release the paper backing. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put in our first page, and the first page is what's going to dictate how the rest of the pages are going to fall in line. So before you go and stick it, just make sure on the left and right hand side that you're even. So before it sticks too well. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to lay it down a little bit. Make sure it looks good and even when you lay it down. And then let's go ahead and press. And do the same thing on this side and press. Okay. So our front. So now we have our first page in. Okay. Now let's work on the second page. Okay, make sure that the page is in the right orientation. Let's see here and down. And then I'm going to pick up my first one and kind of just make sure that they're both kind of even. Then I'll let go of my first page and put down the second page. And it's beautiful because you can see those nice brads in there. It looks beautiful. All right, let's do our third page. So that's pages 5 and 6. Okay, and let's go ahead, make sure of the orientation. So we'll go ahead and place this in, bring up the other two, kind of look at it, make sure that it looks good, then release the other two pages and go ahead and press down. Okay, let's go ahead and work on the next hinge. So this is going to be for pages 7 and 8. Into our hinge system, bring up all our pages, kind of make sure that it looks good. Okay, release the others and stick it down. This is pretty heavy because we have a lot of magnets and we have a lot of elements, which is beautiful. Okay, I am so glad that we used the brads on the hinge system. Okay, next hinge. So we are going to be working on pages 9 and 10. Put it into our hinge. Bring up all our pages. Got a little piece of fluff on there. Okay, bring up our pages. Make sure it looks good with comparison to the rest. And then let it fall. Make sure that it looks good. And let's go ahead and work on our very last page. So that is the last hinge is pages 11 and 12. So I'm going to turn it towards me now. Make sure orientation looks good. Bring up the rest. All right, let's turn it back so I can look at this. Let's bring up everything. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and let go of the others and press down. Just kind of making sure everything looks good. And it's definitely heavy because we have an awful lot of things going on. This is a very interactive album. There is a lot. It feels really good in your hands. Let me show you what it looks like so you can see how much there is in here. But it's absolutely, absolutely beautiful. Chock full of lots of space for you to add things and to decorate. All right, so now that this part is done, now let's go ahead and take a moment to decorate all the pages. Okay guys, so I'm done decorating this album and oh my goodness guys, it came out so pretty. Let me show you what I did. So here, this particular collection had a lot of bigger size cut-aparts. So not only did I get the collection kit, the typical 12 by 12, but I also had some 6 by 8 paper pads. I have 2 of them. So on one of the pages, well, the little paper pads, they had like full page cut-aparts, which I think was fabulous. So I took one of those and then I backed it on green cardstock and then backed that onto red cardstock. And then I lifted it all up using foam tape. And then I have a snowflake punch and I just punched out using gold mirror cardstock as well as green, teal, and pink. And then I just layered the snowflakes on top of each other and then just placed a nice chunky gold diamond cut gems. Aren't these gems just so pretty? And then I added a ribbon, created a bow, added a layered snowflake on top of that, and then included a nice big flower. And then I had these gems here that came kind of like in a roll. Let me see if I can find it super quick for you. No, I don't have them readily available, but you may have seen them. They come in a roll and it's kind of like the chunky type. That's what I used right there. See. And then for the spine, I just added some puffy stickers that came with the collection. And then on the back, I just added another cut apart, backed that onto some red cardstock. I had a cut apart here of some chevron arrows. I just included a border strip there and then included one of my layered snowflakes. Now, as far as closures, I'm using seam binding. I ended up using 2 different colors. I've got a maroon and almost like a camo or like a darker kind of sage green. I think it matched really pretty with this album. And then I just created a little dangle. I have this large tree plus the bell. And then I used one of my ribbon crimp ends and attached 3 different ribbons. As well, I have a little snowman bell, a little tassel, as well as a little flower. So I have lots of fun goodies on here. And then to attach it, I just added a gold eyelet to it. So let's go ahead and open it and let me show you what I have inside. Okay, so when you first open it, I used one of those larger cut-aparts, backed it onto red cardstock, and then backed everything onto black cardstock, and I added some of those puffy stickers. You can see my ribbon that I had on the front. I made sure to go all the way around so you can see the pretty design inside. And then on this page, we have a few elements. So here is this flip. See if I can get it all in here. And we have magnets throughout. So there's another one. And then I attached a coin pocket here, cut-aparts and cardstock stickers. I have my Christmas spreads, and then punched out a couple of scallop circle punches there just to kind of decorate the little handle. So we've got that. Here I've got more puffy stickers and then a cardstock sticker. Now this album has 6 signatures, and each page has an insert, so in case you want to add something here, you most certainly can. And then let's turn the page. Let me move my little stuff out of the way. Okay. So here we have a nice flip up. And then I used my die cut. And then I die cut out in gold mirror cardstock a nice frame and included white cardstock in the middle for photos. And then a nice big cardstock sticker here. And then on the next page, now we have a larger, let me take this out, a larger cut apart that came with the paper pad, so I just included that. And then I made a few paper clips with nice pretty bows and included a little gem there, and it's hidden in the back. So we have a nice pocket. Put this back. And then just use my cardstock stickers throughout. Again, you have your middle pocket in case you want to use something, or store something rather. And then here in the middle, just like every page, you have an insert where you can add additional items if you want. And then here is a belly band. I did a cut apart, backed that onto some nice red cardstock, and then included 2 cardstock stickers. On this side, I have a top flip. Use some sentiment, cardstock stickers. Here is the top. Here is the bottom. Have some cardstock stickers and then some puffy stickers here. This flips down. You have a nice scene here, and in the middle I decided to do, again, the gold frame using the gold mirror cardstock, and then just added my white cardstock in the middle. Everything has magnets. Again, you have your pocket on the side. Here is the next page, just added some cardstock stickers. And then here on this side, I just did a 4-way flip element. So here's your first page. That flips open. You have it here, more space here. Lots of cardstock stickers used throughout. And then more here. This flips up. And then this one flips down. So lots and lots of room to include tons of pictures and journaling. We have our middle pocket. Here is the next page, a nice puffy sticker, cardstock stickers, leaving most of it blank so you can add tons. And then here I have another pocket, so I included another one of these big cut-aparts. Created another paper clip bow for here, and then just included a cut apart. So let's put that back, put this one back, and then of course your middle pocket. Here is the next page, cardstock stickers. Here I've included several different elements. I've got puffy sticker here, cardstock stickers here. Then I created this envelope using vellum. We have puffy stickers here. And then inside I created this tag, has really pretty stitching throughout, and then a cut apart. So that's in that envelope. Let me put this back. Okay. Turn the page. Added a border from a cardstock sticker, a little sentiment. It says time for mistletoe and holly. Another cardstock sticker throughout. So that's the first flip. Then we flip to the side. Cardstock stickers, sentiment, layered some cardstock stickers. That's okay. And then we have our side pocket. And then on the last page, I have more cardstock stickers, puffy stickers here, so flake, the word joy, you open it, and I've included a cut apart as well as another tag. So lots and lots of room. And then on the inside back cover, I've added a cardstock sticker banner, a nice big Santa on his sleigh, and a snowman. And then on the back cover, which I've already shown you, we have our chevron and our cardstock. So there you have it, guys. Let me just, it's getting stuck. Okay.